Oh shit. I have lead Halsey. This ain't gonna end well. Uh this ain't gonna apparently we have some shenanigans going on back there. Oh, they killed the one healer. Oh yeah, this is gonna end poorly. This is gonna end very poorly. Oh my god. Who just fucking chunked the shit out of me? That hurt! That fucking hurt! Let me go back through and let me see that shit. Oh my god, that hurt. That was some, it wasn't the archer that hurt me, that whirlwind slash. Oh, cause, yeah. Looks like he got reset. Looks like he got his, deflect and retaliate, because it was like 6 lines of whirlwind slashes there. But I don't really like lead. I don't want to lead. I want to be a slacker. What's up, guys? It is Friday. It is the end of the week. I am gonna tell you right now that I was about to cancel the show. I wasn't gonna be coming today, but I had to get up this morning. Today was the last round of my medication for being sick, and this medication like jacks me up. But with that said, I was like, oh hell, I gotta get up anyway, because if I fall asleep, then I'm not gonna be awake to go get Gizmo from school. So, yeah, I said, you know what, I'm gonna, as long as I can be mostly vertical and mostly coherent, go ahead and come to the stream and we can talk. I got notes. Oh shit. There's so many of them. But yeah, I took 5k from a triple slash. So whoever that is tanky as fuck. Isn't Skewer Life better? Generally, if you want it as a heal, yes, but I don't want it as a heal. I like having some offensive capability. And if you have life, then you have like no offensive capability. I mean, if this was gonna turn into a actual long fight. Hey, shithead, if you've been around my show any length of time, you would know that the reason why is because when I first started playing Archeage, it was my hand was crippled, and I've just recently gotten used to my hands back. So yeah, I'm happy that you know, you want to make fun of clickers. Guess what? I always love people like you. It's always even more entertaining when people who make fun of clickers lose to them in PvP. So next time you want to talk shit about somebody, realize that I had to have 2 shoulder surgeries to put my arm and hand back together. So kind of get bent. Because like I said, there's been a lot of people who make fun of clickers and then they lose. So you really, the last couple of times you've shown up on my show, you've been pretty well toxic anyway. So not really too concerned about your opinion. Because that's the cool thing about being a streamer who doesn't need to do it for money. I don't really care about your opinion. If you want to make fun of a clicker, fine, go ahead. But chances are I'd probably beat you. I'd probably beat you in 1v1 anyway. Yeah, there's more pirates than there are us. It's not who I want. I definitely don't want you. Oh, let's see. Yeah. But I got a bunch of research done for today's show. That was cool. Plus I went and did career day at my daughter's school this morning. So that was fun as well. I like kindergartners. They entertain me. Kindergartners, you guys ever notice like kindergartners, they ask questions and they're so funny about it. They'll you're like, does anybody have any questions? And they all shoot their hands up. But they don't actually have a question. They're just so excited. They're so excited to like be the one who gets called on. So luckily, you know, little background in education, so I was ready for that. But I was like, does anybody have any questions? All the hands shoot up, and you're like looking around the room, like which kid is jumping around like he's about to come out of his skin because he doesn't have a question. Like give him a minute to think of a question. But let him know you're going to call on him. Be like, alright, I'm going to ask you, then I'm going to come to you. But, no, that was fun. And then my older one, my older daughter, well, not my older daughter, the older one that lives in this house, is at a singing competition today. She, just like randomly one day, my kid starts winning all these awards. My kid starts winning all these awards for, choir and solos and stuff, and I'm like, well, holy shit. It's like fucking amazing. Yeah, she's at school today. It was bad yesterday. She was pretty well off, but she's got like no immune system, unfortunately. She was a preemie, so she oftentimes gets really sick, and there's not a lot we can do about it. Oh, this is gonna go badly. Yeah, that completely locked down. And then not even the glider is gonna help you in the future. The glider's on my list of things that is done, that is changed in Korea. So we'll be getting that soon. We will be getting that soon. We got a lot of stuff coming. Now that we got a handful of people here, I do want to say one thing before I jump into the show. I got asked the same question. A bunch of times. Like in the last couple of weeks, people have been asking me, because you know I help new streamers. You're not gonna follow my advice and become like the next huge streamer. I can't help you be that. But what I can do is I can help you not make all of the same mistakes I made getting started. Which, you know, I made a ton. I make fucking mistakes all the time. So I can help you. I can help you get started. I can help you think about some of like the marketing bits and pieces that you might want to think about. But a bunch of people have asked me why, since I don't have like a huge following on Twitch, why I haven't made the switch to D Live. And I'm going to tell you right now, the reason I haven't gone to D Live is simple. I'm old. Okay? I am old. I don't trust or understand cryptocurrency. I like my currency to be based on money, like actual real world, honest to God. I can put my hands on it. You know, money. So I don't get all these instances where you hear about people putting. Oh, you got jumped from behind. All these instances where you're talking about game companies installing crypto mining software in their launcher, so when you have the launcher open, you're making the company money. So I don't understand DLive's monetization, so I'm not going to switch over to it. Like I said, I'm old. I'm not trying to do this to get rich. I'm doing this to hang out. I got nothing negative to say about DLive. I have no reason to think they're doing anything illicit. I know a couple of streamers who have made the switch to DLive, but a couple of people have been asking me lately. Yeah, Frost, DLive, you might want to look into it. DLive is an alternative to Twitch as a streamer's platform. You make more money at DLive. You keep more of the money that donors donate, but most of my, I'll be honest, most of my subscriptions come from Twitch Prime. Also, I want to say thank you to Thingamabob. I didn't see you pop up. This is one of the few events I actually have to pay attention to the screen. I prefer engaging with people, but you know, this is one of those ones where I have to engage with the screen. But yeah, if you're not interested in the money, I like Twitch's platform. So I mean, it's like, if I like the platform, why would I change? With that said, I don't have anything negative to say. People have just been asking me why I haven't made the switch to DLive, and because I don't do this for the money. I do this to have fun, and most of my subscriptions come from Twitch Prime. So, oh, look at that, stacking them up today. Appreciate that. But since most of my subs come from Twitch Prime, you know, Twitch Prime is free if you have Amazon Prime. I'm actually still shocked that they did that, but it is a way for them to build up their audience. I found out why my sub for Twitch is screwed up. Okay, why is your sub for Twitch screwed up? Look at that. Sometimes it works. Other times, not so much. You had the 30-day Prime, then a 7-day trial. Ah, that would explain it. That would explain it. Yeah, I fucked up. You always gotta be careful about them trials, man. I fucked up with Final Fantasy. I fucked up with Final Fantasy when I went back to it. Tamir jumps in, and she's in game, and I didn't realize there was a 7 free days for Final Fantasy to return. So they she installs and starts playing, never sets up a subscription. Well, I put my subscription on, so I think I you know, cost myself 7 free days. I don't particularly care, but it's just one of those. I always do things methodically. Set up my 7 free day, or set up my account, set up my recurring sub, and then go back. I'm just gonna stand here. I'm gonna talk about my other thing first, and then I'll get into all the new stuff coming in with Archeage. So let me flip over. I got stuff prepared today. So I want to talk about Gamigo for a second. And one of my viewers came to me and was talking to me about the problem with Europe, the European servers. And I said, look, I can't really talk about it intellectually because I haven't done any research on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys a couple of bits and pieces. Now, you guys know that I beat up on people if you open your mouth and you say stupid shit. I beat up on you, especially if you're a game company. If you are in the business of providing a service, then you need to provide that service. We all know Gamigo's support is pretty horrible. I'm going to say this. A lot of companies, their support tickets fall by the wayside. It should never take more than like 3 or 4 days to get an answer to any ticket. Especially, and that's why you have a little drop-down box. You have a little drop-down box to pick your ticket. Like, is it about billing? Is it about account restoration? Is it about item restoration? And if you pick the right pull-down, then there should be a GM who handles, if it's about account restoration, it goes to the top of my queue. If it's about billing information, it goes to the top of my queue. And then you have like a senior GM that is just looking at the tickets thing, leading, managing, supervising, and on his tally thing on his other monitor, it pops up, oh, there's a billing question. I'm going to pull that to my screen and I'm going to address it. You shouldn't have people that, you know, have removed their credit card, that have removed their credit card information from your company, and yet they somehow still get billed. And then they put in a ticket and you're like, hey, you billed me and I removed my credit card information. And then they're like, well, there's nothing we can do. Well, I'm sorry, but that's bullshit. Yes, there is something you can do. You can issue me a refund. That's why I don't, if you guys don't know this, if you can ever pay with PayPal, pay with PayPal. Are you doing a competition? No, this is just the new Halsey war. This is just how Halsey works now. But when you go into PayPal, every month, make sure you go back into PayPal and disable recurring transactions, because you want to make sure that they don't automatically rebill you. With that said, I did a test this morning at the Gamigo website. I know that the ticket system is fucked. And I know the forums are not the place that you should be going to get help. The ticket center is where you should be putting in tickets to get help. Well, what I did was I rolled up into the forums real quick and I took a quick look, and it took me all of 3 minutes to read the front page of the forums. Everything from midnight, my time, to that morning. It took me 3 minutes to go through and chick through all the tickets, and there was one guy who could have used some help on the forums. Again, the forums aren't the place to go to get help, but if you're not getting help through the ticket center, then the forums are a place to, you know, get help. I want to use Intrepid for an example. Not that they're stellar at their ticket system. If you look at the overall, but if you look at the last couple of months, Intrepid has been doing a really good job of helping people, and they've got a person on their staff. Her name is Lieutenant Toast. And she literally sits on Discord, and if you PM her a ticket number, she'll look into it right away. Again, in an ideal world, there wouldn't be a 3-month backlog of tickets. But that's not how an ideal world works. People put in a lot of bullshit tickets, a company's got to go through them. So with that said, the support at Gamigo is still absolutely horrible. Absolutely fucking horrible. The support at Gamigo. They need to fix that, because you can't do anything else with your game if your support doesn't work. Especially a game like Archeage, where a returning player from prior to a evolution is going to need you to get into their account and look at it and be like, alright, I gotta do item restorations on farms and shit. So it's just that simple. You're gonna have returning players are going to be putting in tickets. They're going to need help. If you don't understand that, Gamigo, then you don't understand the game, and honestly, you need to smarten some people up. But I do want to beat up on them about, you know, bullshit. And when I say bullshit, oh, by the way, Frost, meet me in Ostera. I got your thing for you. I finally found it. Holy shit. But this is what I'm talking about with words. And I always say that words matter. And you got to realize when you're a game company and you're using cute and clever words. Boom. Pandar. 13 months. Holy shit. Alright. Let me get my buff. And then I got to give Frost this thing. Oh, and I gotta show you guys, Frost sent my daughter a Stitch. It's absolutely amazing. But yeah, come to Ostera. So, here, my big thing is words matter. Now, when you're out there and you're trying to play word games to, like, placate your community, realize there's always going to be somebody out there who is smarter and better at the game than you are. I don't know where game companies got this mentality that they are the best at the wordsmithing. And the problem is that a lot of companies try to do this wordsmith bullshit, and it bites them in the ass. Because I can play that game too. I can use. Where are you going? Come back. I can play the word game too, and you know, make shit sound better. There we go. There's Snowsy's getting my 3 salvage forges. This is the 3rd one. There you go. Enjoy. They are a relic of a day gone past. But if you're gonna start playing the word games with people, then here's what's gonna happen. It's gonna bite you in the ass. Here is the Archeage producer. This is Tinin. Archeage producer. Now, your fucking job title is producer. I'm not quite sure why it's producer. I asked this question once before, because exactly what are you producing? You're not really producing anything. But whatever title you want to give yourself. But you're the producer. So you're up there in the food chain. You are way up there in the food chain. Emergency maintenance, Europe, May 3rd at 1 a.m. Universal. We need to bring the EU servers offline for maintenance at 1 a.m. Unfortunately, it appears that the post for this maintenance did not post correctly. The fuck sort of excuse is that? What the fuck sort of, like, what bullshit just rolled out of your mouth? It appears that the post for this maintenance did not post correctly. So, you didn't make the post. What you're saying right there is somebody done fucked the pooch and didn't make the post. Because what do you mean it didn't post correctly? This is how you quality control your work. You go, you make the post, you hit post, you reload, you see if it's there. That's how. Where are you? If you're still in Ostera, open me a portal. I'll jump through. But it appears as if the post for this maintenance did not post correctly, resulting in the last-minute notice being provided at this time. Alright. I'm gonna break this down a couple of different ways. First of all, you're calling it emergency fucking maintenance. What is the definition? What is the definition of the word emergency? Serious, unexpected, and often dangerous situation. Oh, look at that. We are racking up the follows today. Appreciate that. How can you say that you're having emergency maintenance, but the post for this maintenance did not post correctly? So, it's one of those, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Because you're not even using words correctly. You're just not using the right words. You're calling it emergency maintenance because you think if you throw the word emergency on it, then people are going to be like, oh, it's emergency maintenance. Well, that's the boy who cried wolf, man. You have emergency maintenance today. You have emergency maintenance the next day, then the next day, then the next day. Okay, that's bullshit. You guys know I was in the middle of a stream once, like 2 weeks ago. You guys know I try not to fiddle with my phone too much. Like right now, there's a light on my phone, and I know my wife is geographically separated. She's over at an amusement park, so you know If it's not a text message from my wife, I'm not gonna fuck with my phone. If it's a text message or a call from my wife, I'm going to address my phone. I've never been here before, but I love how prepped you are. You have my support. Ah, appreciate that. Yeah, you guys deserve. I'm gonna look at Frost's treehouse here in a second. So, you want to call it emergency maintenance. Emergency maintenance is where the server crashes, okay? If you knew about it 3 hours ahead of time, then that isn't emergency maintenance. That's routine maintenance. That's scheduled maintenance. Little while later, here's what comes up. The repeated maintenance is due to the team continuing to work through the issues causing latency for players on EU. While the major spikes of lag are gone, there is still an underlying delay that our team is trying to resolve. Okay. That is nowhere near emergency maintenance yet. That is routine, scheduled, diagnostic maintenance. So please don't call it emergency maintenance, trying to get people to not fling shit at you because it's emergency maintenance. If you're from Selphira, way back in the old days, we used to have a lot of emergency maintenances because people would DDoS our server. So we needed emergency maintenance to fix shit, to bring the server back up. Investigating latency is not emergency maintenance. Restarting the server because there's an issue, that's emergency maintenance. Now, here's where I smiled today. This is just another one. We're bringing the PTS offline for internal testing. There is no ETA for this downtime. I love the fact that somebody other than me said, what you said was ETA, what you really meant was ETC or ETIC, estimated time of completion. When you're trying to use acronyms, but you don't even know what the fuck acronym you're using, it makes me not take you seriously. I start to not take you seriously because I hate hearing that a server has an ETA. The only time a server has an ETA is if the server is being shipped from California to Germany. Then the response would be, all right, guys, the server's ETA is at 2 o'clock. We will get it through customs, and then it's going to take about 6 hours to physically drive it to the server farm, plug it in, and boot it up. That's when you have an ETA on a server. Other than that, it's not an ETA. And it makes me laugh because you're trying to use terms, and you're clearly drowning. You're in over your head. So that's my Gamigo thing, because I was asked a bunch of times about what's going on with the Gamigo servers. And I was like, alright, I'll take a look at it. Look at this guy. This guy's getting drunk. He's got the bar open. Is it happy hour yet? I love the beanstalks. Oh, look at that. See, they look really nice. Relics of days gone by. Remember when these used to be critical? I don't mind swinging by and checking out people's property. Muddy Field is up here. That's kind of cool. Well, oh, look at this. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Hey, guys, if you play on Kadam and you need some... oh, hey, he's got everything. If you guys need stuff, I'm not putting up 50 properties again. So if you're looking for old knickknacks, balloons, frames, canvases, I have all that crap. I have tons of it. Oh, shit. Ah! But yeah, I like it. Oh, are these yours? You doing the breeding again? Look at you. This was Tamir's favorite thing. Yadas and bears. And I like to watch foreign channels on Twitch and on YouTube. You can put a film in English. The English language is nice. Yeah, it's the only language I know. I speak... well, I listen to horrible Spanish. Horrible Spanish. Oh, look at this guy. He put the fountain up there. So let me say this, and I want to catch you guys off guard with a little bit. You guys might not believe this, but Archeage is insanely popular still. Like, I was really shocked. I transfer my streams over to YouTube so that I have them, especially these recent couple. I want to take some of the work that I'm doing and I want to go back and watch those streams and then maybe possibly convert a couple of them into videos. I just don't have time. I should have a little bit more time now because the Ashes Feast or Famine has gone back into a little bit of famine. But Steven doing 4 live streams back to back to back, Q&A, was just overwhelming. Look at this guy go. Little meeting room. Couldn't have a meeting in here with me though. I'd fall off. Oh, you can't fall off the ledge. Good. But now I should have a little bit more time. I should have a little bit of content creator time for Archeage. Ideally, today would be the day that I would be making Archeage videos because Tamir's not here and I got a couple hours. But obviously, as it is, I'm here hanging out with you guys. So I do want to say that Archeage is still insanely popular. Insanely popular. Frost, I got nothing to tell you. This looks good, man. I like it. I would definitely have one of these if I came back. War room. Once I get my house set up in Final Fantasy, I'll show you a war room. They have a really cool piece of furniture. Yeah, and let me talk about the Beanstalk house real quick before I jump into all these other things that are in the Archeage pipeline. You guys know that I've said a couple of times, I don't blame Gamigo for the lack of land. I blame Tryon for the lack of land. Because they did the server evolutions, and then all of a sudden it was like, boom, server evolutions, boom, new company. I really believe that if Gamigo, well, let me phrase this. I don't know if the server merges were part of the deal for Gamigo to buy Archeage. Very well could have been. Very well could have been. I don't think that they were, only because, to my knowledge, Tryon needed XL's permission in order to do merges, evolutions. But if you guys remember, Jake Song has come out publicly and said he had no idea about the sale of Archeage, the distribution rights to Gamigo. In fact, what happened was, the best I was able to piece together the story is the transaction happened and Gamigo contacted XL Games and says, hey, we're your new distributor. And XL Games was like, Who are you? Gamigo what? It was the same people, but it was now all of a sudden a new company. And I'm trying to follow the court case out in California because Tryon World still hasn't been dissolved. I'm actually really surprised that when you log into Glyph and when you log into the game, I'm actually really surprised that it actually it doesn't. I take that back. They have managed to get Tryon's. Let me check a couple other places. Yeah, they have managed to get Tryon's name. Oh no, they missed one. It happens. They missed one. For a while there were a lot of no, I can't show you guys that picture. Hold on. I gotta trim that this way. For a while, there were a lot of locations in Glyph that still showed Tryon's name, but now the only one that I can find is this one. You see, when you go in there to send the logs, it still send logs to Tryon Worlds. Yeah, the website's still glyph.tryonworlds. And that actually, I'm surprised by that. And the reason why I'm surprised by that is, if you guys didn't know this, Tryon Worlds got sued and they lost. They didn't lose the actual lawsuit, but they lost like 8 motions. Every motion that their team filed, the judge basically threw out. And so you knew that was going downhill. I believe that Tryon liquidated because they knew that they were going to get their ass handed to them about the 10% deal, and the judge was going to make a ruling that would have been impossible for Tryon to adhere to. and then they would have gotten fined and penalized. And you got to remember, everyone's like, oh, I wish Tryon had gotten fined. Why do you wish Tryon had gotten fined? You wouldn't have gotten the shit. It's not like we would have gotten money back. You were never going to get money back. You would have just maybe gotten credits. You maybe would have gotten some credits. Some credits. But at the same time, you also could have ended up at a 0 credit balance, because they would have been within their right to take away bonus credits. So it was going to be ugly every way you go. It was going to be ugly. So Tryon cut their losses and sold most of their assets, but not all their assets. So I know there's this court case hanging out. So that's been part of the problem. But the Beanstalk House is absolutely amazing. I think the thing looks great. The problem is, where in the fuck do you find a mansion space to put it down? You know, where do you find a mansion space to drop that bad boy? And that therein lies a big part of the problem. So, I just want to get rid of all this labor while I'm online. But first useful mansion in the game, in my opinion. Yeah, I think that there's no problem with I don't think there's a problem with having big tracts of property. I do think there's a problem with, like I've said, this is, let me pick Tiger Spine. So in Tiger Spine, you have this housing district, right? And then you have, there's like 3 spots that you can have. I think it's right around there. There's like 3 spots you can have a little house. But you have all this land mass that you don't have property spots in. And then you get a lot of zones like that. Like Falcorth is pretty populatable with housing zones. I mean, huge tracts of land. But it's not open world. And remember, there are people who deliberately set their land off the fence in order to block people out from using those 7 spots the whole gutter the way down. And I actually have a story about that from another game, which we'll talk about later when we cycle back around to housing. But honestly, I think if Gamigo wants to make progress, what they need to do is they need to open up instanced housing. Appreciate that. Wow, we are racking up the followers today. And I know a lot of people are against instanced housing. And the thing is, you can be against instanced housing, but ask yourself a question. Do you want your game to continue to wither and die, or do you want your game to get healthy again? Because, there's still a ton of space in Windscour and Hasla and Rakala as well. I wouldn't say there's a ton of space. I haven't looked for like 2 weeks, but the last time somebody challenged me to look, I couldn't find land to even throw down a 16 for somebody. Somebody was looking to throw down a 16 cottage so they could come back. Maybe closer to 3 weeks ago. So I couldn't find a 16 to throw down so that they could drop their chests. Instance apartment that holds a bedded chest in another world that only works for me. Yeah, but here's the thing. If you do instanced housing, right? If you do instanced housing, it doesn't really hurt you. It doesn't really hurt the average player. Because the big value in open world housing is the larders. You can't do larders out of the instanced housing. So you just make it so you can't even place them in there. For a free to play, yeah, maybe. I saw a video from YouTube channel, but it didn't get right the Luna Gem system. Okay. The video was accurate when I put it out. Not sure what I got wrong. If you want to tell me what I got wrong, let me know. But Windshear, you've only had a ticket in for 12 days. Well, that's pretty short for them. Shoot, I could definitely see free to play. I could definitely see instance departments. I could definitely see instance departments for a bit, not even a bed. You know what I'm gonna say? If you want to have an instance department for a chest and a otherworldly storage chest, yes, absolutely. Or just make it so that the Daru, I've burned enough labor. Just make it so the Daru has a tab here. So like when I click on him, all these tabs up here, just put a tab here and give him 100 spots for bound stuff, or 50 for bound, and it grows as you grow your warehouse. It grows for bound storage as well. But we talked about it a couple of shows ago. You don't need land to play Archeage, but you need storage space. There's the problem. If you want to craft T3 gems, then upgrade 3 more levels. No, if you take a T3 gem, like what's there in my weapon are T3 gems. So that weapon has T3 gems in it. This weapon has T1 gems plus 2s. So those gems are T1s that have been lunatempered up to plus 2. So if you go, you either have a choice of doing T1 gems and plussing those up, or T3 gems. You only go to T2 in order to be, you know, in order to be a stepping stone to have T3s. Do the plots open up if someone who hasn't been active in a long time? No. You can hold land forever. You can hold tracts of land as long as you pay your patron. Then, as long as you pay for your patron and you pay all your taxes, you can have hundreds of plots of lands. In fact, somebody in Paradox, they love crafting. They have hundreds of plots of land, but that's what they do. That's how they spend their time. Now, I do think that if you are keeping vast tracts of land just vacant for long periods of time, that's a problem. I don't think you should be able to tie up land and it not be used. That's a problem to me. And I guess I'll jump in right now with the Final Fantasy story with housing. Because you guys know I like to have a lot of research done. I like to have a lot of talking points. Actually, that's not true. I do want to say this. Final Fantasy 14 claims that the land will open up if you haven't been active, but I know that that's not true because my original free company from launch 5 years ago, the person hasn't, there's only one person left in the free company. They haven't logged in, and nobody has entered the house, and it's still there. It was there 290 days ago when I played the last time, and now that I'm back to Final Fantasy full time, I message the person and be like, hey, if you ever pop on and you're not going to play, I'm the original owner of this house. Can I get it back? Because, you know, I needed a house. The person hasn't ever logged in. So, but what somebody did in Final Fantasy 14 is, when under the old rules, 2 people bought 28 houses. They bought pretty much all of a ward. Well, that's bullshit, okay? Anybody has the right to spend their in-game gold any way they want, but you don't need 28 houses in that game. You simply don't. So, that's kind of a jerk move. That's kind of a jerk move to do that. But I did go through and I got some things that are in the pipeline. I got some things that are in the pipeline, and you guys can ask questions about them. I'm going to talk about them to the best of my ability. Now, realize I haven't done a huge deep dive into these, so you're going to have questions. I probably won't have answers on today's show, but what I usually do is if people ask questions, you'll see me jotting down the questions. I'll try to go get more refined answers. You got to realize translating the Gamigo notes isn't always the easiest thing in the world to do, because the terms in Korea are different than the terms in North America Archeage. So first I have to convert them from, I have to convert it from North America or Korean Archeage to North American Archeage, and then I have to convert it from Korean to English. And and you gotta remember, their build isn't identical to our build. So there are some things that are getting changed for them that we've never even gotten. Because remember, sometimes we skip intermediate builds because they're like, nah, we're not pushing that build to North America because there's something fucked about it. We're just gonna get them the fixed one. And another, man, the Furby's getting a workout today. It must be because Sweetheart's here. Sweetheart's off work today. Well, she's off her paying job. She's at her unpaid internship. Hi mate, I'm planning to start playing Archeage, but I don't know if it's possible to catch up with the top players or I'll just get farmed everywhere. Could you answer this? I mean, yeah, there's gonna be, you're gonna be starting off at the bottom of the barrel. You're gonna have to work for it, but there are people who within three months that they are right there with top geared people. It all depends on how hardcore you want to be. If you're gonna come in and casually play an hour or two a day, then no, you're never gonna catch up to the top rate people being a casual. If you want to come in and work for it, a couple of what's his name, Warhead re-rolled factions, and within like 3.5 months he was squared away. Find a good guild who can help you. That does help. Usually I would say I can help you, but I don't play this game full time. But there are a lot of good guilds on most of the servers. I've watched 2 different people come back to the game on already almost 4K gear score and ancestral level 5+ in a week. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing difficult about getting to your levels. I mean, once you're ancestral 1, once you're ancestral level 1, you don't have any more, like, what's death? Death is a quick trip to the Nui. You know, do the events, get your honor, realize that there's a couple of different philosophies that you're going to want to think about. Do you want to try to be the very best, or do you want to try to be competitive? If you want to try to be the very best, then you're going to have to dig in and make a lot of gold. If you want to be competitive, then you can do it the other way, and you can do T1 plus gems and be almost as good. You're never going to be the best, all right? You won't be the very best, but you'll be competitive. First up on my list, though. Oh, shit, man. I'm 50 minutes into the show, and I'm just getting to page 1 of the list. That's how you know it's a good show. That's how you know it is a great show. Because I don't have to go to the list right away. First and foremost, I want to tell people that there is a new Mist Marrow and a new Kadum coming. And I like that. I like the fact that they are addressing the old content and making it better. Now, I know some people say, well, what I want is new content. I don't want the old content fixed. I just want new content. Well, then you're going to have to wait for it. And what I mean by that is there was supposed to be a dungeon that came out with 5.3. No, 5.5. We're supposed to be a dungeon that came out with 5.5 in Korea. It didn't get done in time. So what they did is they changed how they changed Eastern Hiram Mountains a little bit to make it so that Eastern Hiram Mountains didn't get delayed. And now that new dungeon will come along later. It is a lot harder to completely make something organically new than it is to put together tweaks and changes. By the way, when is the patch? No idea, man. I have no insights. So this stuff, the stuff at the top here, the first couple of things I'm talking about, Korea doesn't even have yet. These are what's coming in Korea's pipeline. But I like to let people know what development's going on in Archeage Korea, because it gives you that way down the road look. Also, new Mist Marrow, new Kadum. Kadum's not gonna be like, you know, everybody work together, hold hands, sing Kumbaya, and kill a world boss. I am trying to translate out a little bit. Oh, the glider change, the Ravenspine wings. no, you're not going to be able to jump on a glider and have immunity anymore. It's going to work like the Ezzies. When you jump on the glider, you're going to have to hit an active skill to go immune. What is going to happen to Miss Marrow? It's going to become a new event, just like this. Miss Marrow goes above it, and it becomes a queuable way like that. It becomes another faction war thing. From what I was reading, what happens is the Nuians and the Haranians have to destroy the towers, and the outlaws, the Pirate Nation. If you ever hear me say the Outlaw Nation, I mean the Pirate Nation, but sometimes when I get done reading the notes over in Korea, Outlaw sticks in my head, because that's what their nation is called. So the Pirate Nation, their job is to defend those towers and rebuild them. So honestly, you remember, down the pipe, player nations are gone. Player nations, they acknowledge that the player nation idea was a bad idea, so they are getting rid of it in Korea. And it looks like that's either done or it's due to be done, because this most recent set of patch notes I saw doesn't talk about the player nation's involvement. Now, with that said, do I think player nations were a good idea? Yes, I do. Do I think the way they were executed was done well? No, I don't. I think on paper, I don't like faction-based games. I think this is 2019, goddammit. We are past the era of faction-based games. I don't want any more faction-based games. I'm going to give you a great example. Perfect example. Sweetheart wants to play a dwarf, but I want Sweetheart in my guild. So I can't have Sweetheart in my guild because she joins the game, but she really wants to play a dwarf. And she can only be in my guild then if my guild is a player nation guild, because it's the only way to get outside of the restrictions. That's dumb, in my opinion. That is dumb. That is bad game design. It is restrictive, and it is not what people want. With that said, do I think that you can just flip a magic button and fix things? No, of course not. Could you make Archeage not faction-based? No, you couldn't. Everything in Archeage is designed around being faction-based. Everything, including the story, okay? Now, granted, if you guys don't know this, the novels aren't followed exactly. Because if the novels were followed exactly, then if the novels were followed exactly, then the game wouldn't work. Because you have to have some resemblance of balance in a video game. And the Harani are technologically superior to the Nuians. So you technically wouldn't have cars bebopping around in Nuia until the dwarves, start making them. But you got to dig into way deep into the novels for that. But you don't always want to make a game based on, canon of a genre, because it's not going to work. It's not necessarily going to work out right. With that said, the player nation system was a great idea. It was just very poorly executed. So much so that XL took it away. And rightfully so. If it's game breaking, if something you add ruins the enjoyment of other players, it needs to come out. And in an open world, used to be sandbox, now more theme park game, you gotta make sure that you try your best. Whoa, that garbage truck sounds like it's gonna come in my front door. But with that said, we're also getting the Castle Siege revamp. Well, we're not. Korea is. They've been testing the Castle Siege revamp for a couple of months now. So castles are getting completely redone. The way they're going to work, the way sieges are going to work, all that's changing. Now I know your first question is going to be, how are they changing? And my answer to you is going to be, I can't tell you yet because, again, I went over it and it's so complicated. I'm like, nah, I can't understand what you're trying to say here. So keep in mind, yes, castle sieges are coming. Now, do I still think it's going to be based around the bullshit mechanics? Yeah, unfortunately. The ability to dodge, I think the ability to dodge is still going to be there. Again, you guys have known over the couple of years I've been doing my show. I like Archeage sieges. I like the way they function. I like the way they're played out. I do not like how the sieges get declared. I do not like that they're not weekly. I think that those two things make for a really shitty PvP, premier PvP piece of content. Yeah, last fresh start you were around, one guild took all the castles. Yeah, once you, I mean, I don't see castles being that gating anymore, because obsidian gear doesn't exist. But I think you still need Lord's coins for some stuff. And again, I am okay with locking progression behind in-game content if the in-game content is done right. So, for example, if all six castles were siegeable at the same time, but I don't want to fight you. If all six castles were siegeable at the same time every week, right? So from 7 to 9, all six castles were siegeable, then one guild wouldn't be able to hold them. Because one guild of 50 people wouldn't be able to hold on to 6 castles. So what you would have happen is you would have everybody and their brother would be up there slamming into each other, and you just literally agree, hey, our content's locked out because XYZ guild owns all 6 castles. Well then, I'm going to attack castle 1. You're going to attack castle 2. You're going to bring your whole guild up there to attack one castle. Meaning they have to now decide, split our forces and hold all 6? Or do we consolidate our forces and hope to hold 1 or 2? And I think that works better. I don't like that declaring siege is tied to finances. That you can be weak. You can be weak but financially strong guild and win the siege. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I agree with you that. I agree with you that having it tied to the finances sucks because it means. A lot of small guilds will never get the chance to siege because your alt guild just bids on the scroll, and you make a guild spend 25,000 gold in order to even have a chance to win the scroll. And I outright say that I was part of the problem, and I don't think it was part of the problem. I was playing the game to get done what I needed to get done for the people I needed shit to get done for. I would bid on castle scrolls with my guild and drop them, and then nobody would show up to take the castle, and it was an arrangement. But that was what I was able to do because I had a top 20 guild, and it benefited my guild in certain ways. Didn't benefit us directly because we didn't own the castle, but I definitely got benefits for my guild, and I was able to pick up items my guild needed as a courtesy. Now some people said, well, you're part of the problem because we made sure that they didn't have any alt guilds that could bid for them. I'm like, well, you know what? That's bullshit. Because you didn't have control of all 20 guilds in the top 20. So if I didn't do it, somebody else was going to do it. So I don't feel bad for doing it. With that said, I don't like the system. I do not like the system. Well, that doesn't... See, dead guilds blackmailing us to pay them or they demolish the stuff before the siege. That doesn't matter. That's their right. You may not like it, but that's their right. They built all that stuff. That's their castle. If they want to destroy it, if they want to do scorched earth, that's their right. It's a sandbox game. You were rewarded for any work you put in as an outsider at that castle with a work permit. You were paid in Lord's coins. So if they want to scorch earth their own castle, they can do that. They didn't build that, we built that, we lost castle, we can, well, then you lost it. Again, you have to remember, you're mad because you built it and they destroyed it, but they beat you. So it became their castle. If they want to destroy it, that's their right. The only thing I can say is don't lose your castle next time. I don't think there's a problem with that mechanic. In fact, I wholeheartedly support that mechanic. The way the castle system works is I have a castle, you have a castle. I come to your castle, I take it over, I burn it down. I make you invest time, effort, energy, resources into building it back up. You know, that's just how it is. That is meaningful PvP right there. That is meaningful choices. That is when having a castle means something. I think well, okay, you can think that. I disagree with you. I think you want to take away player choice, and I am never a fan of taking away player choice. I am never a fan of that. You want a more Care Bear PvE system because you think the items belong to the castle. I think the items belong to the guild leader who built the castle or who owns the castle. So we can have a differing opinion. But I don't think that a guild leader should be told you can't destroy your shit. In fact, I watched a guild leader who lost the castle siege say, hey, we don't give a shit. We're just the maintenance guild. You guys won the castle siege. Do you want to keep all the stuff at the castle? And they're like, well, yeah, but we're not paying you. All right, well, then he burned it down. I mean, I think it's a valid tactic. With that said, castle sieges are changing. Remember, Outlaw Pirate Nation is going to be able to hold castles in the change, which is also a weird thing. Boom. Money talks. Appreciate that. I love Twitch Prime. Twitch Prime is such a great way to support small streamers. Costs you nothing. If you already have Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime. You can put a couple of bucks in a streamer's pocket, or in my case, you can put a couple of bucks in the kitty when the kitty gets full. When the kitty gets full, then we give away Apex. By the way, I got my number written on the tablet. I no longer say what the number is because I got told that there were people who were just logging in several accounts to drive up my number. The number used to be on the screen. When we get to this number, I'll give away an Apex. And people were logging in several accounts momentarily to drive the number up. So now I keep the number written on my tablet. You are a good help for the Archeage help system. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. It's so hard. It's so hard for me to like not do the content for Archeage because I love the content. I love the game. But my class is getting hit with the nerf bat again, and it's so hard to be like, fuck, like beat the shit out of my class over and over and over again, and there's no easy way. There's like no easy way to fix it. If re-rolling my gear wasn't like, I have no problem. I would have no problem rolling up Hiram gear. Okay, there's no problem rolling up Hiram gear. But my cloak, my costume, and my combat panties, I have no interest in re-rolling that shit. None. Zero. I don't enjoy the game enough to go through that frustration again. And so, again, like I said, if they were just nerfing healing by 30%, I would be like, all right, cool. They're nerfing healing by 30%. Suck it up, Buttercup. Gotta go. Gotta keep pressing forward. But the fact that they're only nerfing self heals, to me, that's a deal breaker. You're literally telling me my job now as a healer is to heal other people and that I don't count. So, yeah, why only self-healing? Again, I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to keep saying it, and I'm going to keep saying it. Nerfing only self-healing is a wrong decision. I don't care if you nerf healing. I agree healing needs... I agree healing needs nerfed. But you wouldn't be nerfing all healing by 30%. So... since you're not willing to nerf all healing by 10% to see if it fixes the problem. And we talked about it, and I don't want to dive down this rabbit hole again. We've gone down this rabbit hole a couple of times, but it's not healing. It's managing. It's mana barrier. It's you gave too much AoE healing. It encourages better communication between raid healers. Except it doesn't, because it doesn't mean shit to raid healers. It doesn't mean shit to raid healers. Because I'm still going to heal the other healer equally effectively. All it means now is when I'm in the open world, like, I can be killed one-on-one easier than, I can be killed one-on-one easier, but it doesn't affect one bit of how I heal anybody else. So it doesn't actually encourage any better communication. That's the problem. Nerfing all healing by 30% would encourage more communication, because you'd have to have more specialized builds. Now, this is Kadam. Let's see. I would like to see range damage removed, make it physical and magic defense only. Yeah, except if you did that, then plate becomes plate gets even more powerful, because then all I have to do is worry about stacking physical defense mitigation and magic defense mitigation. What I would like to see, truthfully, with archers, is I would like to see archers' skills, okay? I would like archers to have a toggle. I would like to have archers have a toggle that you see in other games, like Final Fantasy with Cleric stance, or Bless Online with the Mage stance. I'd like to see, as a twist, because they could do this probably fairly quickly. I would like to see archers be able to flip between physical damage and magic damage. You come up against a person who's in plate, then you click a buff. You click a buff, and what it does is it makes all of your outbound damage magic damage. Now you come up against a cloth healer, and you're like, oh shit, hit that button again, send my bow back to physical damage. I think I agree with you. The problem is having 3 armor types, but one of those armor types negating 2 damage types is why we're in the situation we're in now. Do I know about the change to cleric stance? No. I went back to Final Fantasy 14 and I played a warrior because my wife wanted to play a healer. What's the cheapest pet? No, Darth, there's no such thing as random questions. That's what we're here for. I will always stop the conversation for direct questions. The cheapest Power Stone pet is, well, hold on. This week, I do like the fact that Gamigo changes the market up every week. The problem is they change the market up every week. Where the fuck are the Power Stone pets? They need a search button. Yes, Dark Runner is still viable. Is it the Kindled Spirit now? Loyalty 600? You can do Loyalty 600. We were talking about this on the Discord the other day. You can get it for Kyrios badges, but I think that's a lot of Kyrios badges that don't go to your title, personally. So Kindled Spirit is better for DPS. Yeah, I mean, either one can take the auto loot Power Stone pet. So, yeah, you also have to craft it after Curious Badges. That is correct. You have to put a bunch of items into. You have to put a bunch of resources into it. That's an interesting change to healer stance. I didn't know that. That's fine. Let's see. Free to play, so kind of greedy. Maybe I'll just wait and get it with Mana Storms in the next big update. Yeah, when we get the Ravenspine Wings compensation, one of the things you'll be able to get is a bunch of loyalty. The Phoenix is better in open PvP. The Phoenix isn't a Power Stone pet, is it? Is it? I've never seen it. Said I was gone for a bit, and then I don't keep up 100% with Archeage all the time. Because last month, man, I was busy as you know. Well, never mind. But I was really busy the last couple of weeks with putting together Archeage content and fixing stuff, learning HTML. See, I'm the kind of guy that when I see my webpage, like, I know that I don't want to be on Wix forever. I don't want to have a Wix webpage forever. Wix is nice for certain pages, so that I can just drag and drop and go. But I mean, there's things I want to do that when I use Wix for it, it becomes a pain in my ass. Like adding a new section where I have lines. I remember how to HTML code that so it'll move everything down. But with Wix, I can't do that. I can't set up a table like that. So it is a waste of my time a little bit. But I also don't want to sit there and relearn HTML. So if I ever do get my website up and running and I start doing custom stuff, people are gonna laugh because it's gonna be some of the pages you're gonna click on a link and it's gonna take you to my other website because I'm not laying out some of that shit. I'm just not. Let's see. I bought 3 Apex for the Kindled Spirit pack when it came out, and it had an hour loop. Yeah. That was, This is a huge time saver. Where are you? Automatically collecting your loot within 40 meters. This is a huge time saver. Even, I don't kill things as fast as other people, but even I notice it as a, time saver. So yeah, it's pretty solid. Pretty happy with it. I recommend it for everybody if you can afford it. The problem is, like we talked about the show on Wednesday, and then we talked about talking about all the time. Yes, it will loot all. It'll loot any corpse you kill. Anything you kill, it will loot. The auto loot works for loot. For sport fishing? Really? That's cool. Hey, getting in a rush. Yeah, I do that in we used to make fun of Z, who's one of my officers. She would kill the majority of the stuff because she was our DPS. She'd forget to pull out her loot pet, and we'd be like, "Why aren't we getting loot?" And she'd be like, "Fuck, I have to run around and get it." So, but no, it was a good addition. Honestly, I'm a little worried about a couple of games coming out, and the reason why I'm a little bit worried on a couple of the games coming out is because I think that they're going to go back to manual looting, and I despise manual looting. I don't mind manual looting if I have to go and skin an animal, like if I'm out there skinning, but I don't want to manually loot shit. So, I mean, I'm past that point. Those are those little quality of life things that I talk about that game developers need to realize. Design your system so I don't have to go and loot a physical body. Plus, If you design your system so I don't have to go and loot a physical body, it means you don't have to generate a corpse, which means it's one less item that the server has to keep track of. Remember, the server's keeping track of all these corpses over here. So if there's a lot of people killing a lot of things, like, oh, I don't know, West Hiram Mountains at reset. You've never seen that problem, right? People have never crashed there, right? So, that's just one of those... Damn it. Oh, I got it. That's just one of those little things that they should keep in mind. How do we keep the server from getting clogged up? Oh, let's not have corpses. Let's see, what else do we got on my list? Oh, skill changes and debuffs, CC and disabling. They are making some changes to disabling technologies. Disabling technologies is the Korean phrase for CC skill. If you do go over to the Amigo page to try to read the notes, realize skills are actually technologies. So they are making some changes to that. I think cursory read, disclaimer, cursory read only. I did not deep dive into stuff. It looks like they're getting rid of the litany of different types of CCs, and it looks like they're moving CCs into only 2 types of disables. Now, which 2? I don't know. I don't know. Not as bad as before, but still stun lock. Maybe, maybe not, because right now how it is, if you're getting CC locked, what's happening is they're mixing in a lot of trips, stuns, you know, lots of bits and pieces. Well, once they get it down to only 2, then it becomes easier to ramp the CC mitigation, the diminishing returns. But as long as you have, 4 different names for stuns, then it becomes really hard to devise a system where it becomes really, really hard to devise a system where you can counter it, because the system's like, oh, well, he's not really stunned, he's stunned. What? The effect is still the same. There's... Oh, look at that. We are racking them up today. What is the one in Battle Rage? Shaken? No, it's not Shaken. There's a skill in Battle Rage that does something goofy. And it was one that Quill and I were laughing about. Overpowered. Quill said he hated this overpowered stat when he was getting 4 or 5. I was asking him questions. He was saying he hated it. The reason why he hated it was because there was... I'm actually gonna see if I actually have his message to me before I fuck it up. My memory is a little bit fuzzy on this one, so let me kill these last 4 things. I wanna bebop over real quick, see if I still have it. Because I hate to misquote people, and he's no longer with Tryon or Gamigo, so which was stupid in my opinion. Best fucking employee you had, and you let him go. But whatever. I'm not the guy that makes the the rules. So let's say all melee combos that combo with stun, trip, all will combo with one of those things. Maybe. Like I said, maybe not. Yeah, stun is stun, stun is impale, stun is deep freeze, some is in frozen, stun as in light freeze, freeze, deep freeze, and frozen. That was one that I remember going to Quill and I was like, dude, freeze, deep freeze, and frozen? He's like, yeah, man, roll with it. I'm gonna try to clean it up the best I can. But yeah, there were 3 different frozen states. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I have... Let me turn this in case I get 1 shot. Well, 1 comboed while I'm on the other page. Let's see. Let me see if I still have it. I may have purged all these. I doubt it though. Throwing out emails isn't something I traditionally do. Let's see. Quill. Absorb damage. Stiffness. Rigid and stiffness. This was funny because this is what Quill says to me. Welcome to today's nightmare, actually. That's Root, which we've been calling Stagger. But some versions of Stagger disable movement and skills, while some Stagger only are a lesson version, which cancels cast time, channel skills, movement, and all skills except for the new Oromancy skills. And there are other ones that do Stagger, but have never had the icon. So it was Stagger, Rigid, Stiffness that, Quill I was trying to make the 4.5 video series, and I was like, dude, all these icons are the same, but they do different things. And he's like, yeah. He's like, but that's what I talk about when you go over to the Amigo site. And for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, let me link this for you. Excel. Page Amigo. For those of you that have never seen this before, now. Big disclaimer. Number one, this is in Hangul. Number two, this is for their version of Archeage. You don't have this version, so not everything that you see, you're like, oh my god, this is so cool, and then we never get it. And you're like, yeah, because we never get it. So if it's like you ever see anything with like the Hello Kitty car, okay, we can never have that. We can never have the Hello Kitty car. So, with that said, when I talk about Amigo, and I know guys, I know, I get it, it's confusing. They have always called their board Amigo, even when it was under Tryon, they called it Amigo. So now you've got the Amigo news, and you've got the Gumigo news. I believe I didn't do this. If I did this, you guys could be sure that Sweet Tart would hit me upside the head and be like, nah, man, I can't even go out there and talk this. Pick a different word. Pick a different word. But if you guys want to check out the patch notes, you can see the Korean patch notes. Now, if you think something sounds too good to be true from the Korean patch notes, I want you to stop. I want you to think. I want you to read it 3 times, and I want you to realize that some of the stuff you're going to hear or see is your wishful interpretation. And I fuck this up occasionally, and a lot of times I sit down with my kid. I sit down with my kid who is teaching her she reads a little bit of Hangul, and I'm like, hey, read this. And she reads it, and I was like, does it say this? And she's like, no, it doesn't. So Korea has way more content than us? Yes, Korea has content that we've never even seen. Like Korea, when I say the Hello Kitty car, they literally have a Hello Kitty car. We can't have it. We can never have it. The licensing doesn't allow for export out of Korea. So, yes, they have features and stuff. They get events we never see. The one big one that I like to remind people of is they got free legendaries for running Mist Song hard mode X number of times. If they also had X number of hours, games, something. I don't remember what it was, but I know it was a 2-part thing. They had to do X number of Mist Songs, and they had to play X number of hours in internet cafes, or they had to do X number of Mist Songs in internet cafes. I know it had to do with internet cafes, but that's something that Korean game developers do. They give rewards for people who play in gaming cafes. It's a way to get people. It's a way to put butts in seats. We don't have those. We don't have as many internet cafes in America because we like to go home and we don't like to talk to people. We don't game socially, but gaming isn't seen as as acceptable. Yeah, playtime in cafes. Yeah, it's to keep your customers satisfied. Could you imagine our society if we put a little bit more money into say robusting up our gaming infrastructure in America? You keep these kids out of trouble. and you know, let them go play video games. I just did a speech this morning about video games and stuff, and personally, I think a lot of kids develop. I know you guys are gonna not believe this, and I think you develop a lot of skills by playing video games, especially video games with intricate markets. I think kids are getting an education in math and economics, and they don't ever even have to go to a class to do it. They have to learn this stuff: supply, demand, you know, price margins, labor per hour. Silver per labor is the same mentality as labor per hour. Oh shit, man! I'm not gonna be able to afford this item if I don't start spending an extra hour a day grinding or mining. Hell, man, I'm gonna say my my 6-year-old the other day figured out a lesson in economics from ABC Mouse. She's got ABC Mouse. Her gaming. She has a literal gaming station. It's Wolfus's old gaming rig. She's over on the other side of the desk from me. She plays abcmouse.com, and she wants a dragon. And she keeps buying little things, and she's like, I never have enough. I was like, well, yeah, you need to save. And she's like, but I want a dragon. I was like, well, you need to go do events and save. And I hear her in the store, because the store makes a very specific music. I said, are you in the store? And she's like, yeah, I just want to buy something small. I said, well, then you won't be able to afford your dragon. And I hear her over there working hard on her tasks, and she's like, she's muttering to herself, she's like, I don't want to do this. It's 60 tickets, and I want my dragon. And I'm like, that's exactly the fucking point of educational software. So, bravo. Now, I'm thinking I might, you know, help her out a little bit and sit over with her and encourage her to do some of the harder things that give more tickets, because she really wants that dragon. She really, really wants that dragon. But that's what video games are for. I've learned more vocabulary from growing up playing MMOs than I ever have in English class. Yeah, there have been... I mean, I'm not going to say I learned more vocabulary words from MMOs, but I've certainly, on occasion, learned a word or two from an MMO that, you know, I had to go and look it up. Oh, shit. Fuck all the bullshit with this. Hi guys, I'm just gonna, don't mind me, I'm just gonna go beep up. But it says you're an expert in Excel. Yes sir, I was a logistics officer in Eve, and it's true. Yeah, and I'm gonna, this is a funny story. Before I continue on what's in the pipeline. I was in the Air Force. I was a logistics officer in the Air Force. Now I know I don't look that old, but I am gonna say that my first reports that had to be typed in high school were typed on a typewriter. Okay, my first, you know, 3 to 5 page papers, they were typed on a typewriter, fucking typewriter, not even a word processor, a typewriter. My dad had Lotus 123 on the home computer because he worked and he needed Lotus. He needed to look at spreadsheets at home. Well, I remember Lotus 123, you had to have the cheat bar over your F keys to even know what the functions were. There was no GUI interface. There was no WYSIWYG. There was, you know, there was literally, you had to know which buttons did what. Well, I didn't grow up with PC gaming. I grew up with Super Nintendo, Nintendo Genesis. But when I got into playing Eve, I was enlisted. I got fucking schooled on Excel spreadsheets. I got massively schooled on Excel spreadsheets from friends playing Eve Online, and conditional formatting and if-thens and pivot tables and all this shit. Well, I get up to the headquarters and the boss starts talking about how he needs this data and he needs it organized a certain way. And I think I was a staff sergeant at the time. I said, yeah, I can do that. And he's like, you can do that? I was like, yeah, I can do that. I can build you a spreadsheet that'll do that, and all we got to do is take the raw. I just need to see how the data is going to come from A1, one of the divisions. I said, if you can get them to give me just a one-line sample report so I know what the headings are going to be, then I will build a spreadsheet that will take the data for us, and we just need to dump it onto a spreadsheet and it'll populate everything. My boss is like, how long is this going to take you? I was like, not long, day or two. So he of course, nobody believes me, right? I'm some 27-year-old staff sergeant who they all think the traditional enlisted idiot doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean, little did they know I had a master's degree, but I didn't do computers in school either. And I come back like 2 days later and I have this Excel spreadsheet that auto-linked to a PowerPoint presentation. So on one screen I have Excel, the other screen I have PowerPoint up, and they give me the data, and while they're all sitting there watching, I open up the email, take the data, I dump it on a tab 1, and this guy, he like, see, it's not usable, it's not in the format we need. And I'm like, chill, man. So I hit tab 2, and all the tables and charts update, and then I go over to Excel, and it asks, or PowerPoint, it asks the question, we've noticed a change in the data. Would you like to update your data now? Yes, I would, thank you. And so I did that, and the entire slide deck is done in probably 2 minutes. And my colonel at the time was like, you just did like 160 man hours worth of work in like 5 seconds. It's like, well, it's not really that complicated if you know Excel. And literally, I wasn't thinking about what I was about to say. And my colonel said, well, where did you learn all this? I said, oh, playing EVE Online. And I remember there was some laughter, and I had put in my paperwork to try to get commissioned. And my colonel pulls me aside after the meeting. He's like, I want to tell you, you did an amazing job today. And I said, thank you, sir. He's like, but when anybody asks you where you learned how to do all that stuff, saying you got it from playing a video game is probably not the answer you want to give. And I was like, but why? Why does it matter? Like, I don't, as an officer, I didn't play pool. I didn't play snooker. I play billiards. I shouldn't say, I shouldn't say that I don't play pool. I play billiards. I play 8-ball. I play 9-ball. I don't like snooker. I don't like crud. It's this Air Force game that they play. I don't play golf. I don't golf. So I'm that officer that, like, when it comes to the weekend, everybody's like, what are you doing? Like, I'm gonna, guys, I'm a little older than you. I'm gonna hang out with my family this weekend. I mean, it wasn't a lie, because I already had kids, but it's like, it was like a sacrilege. It was like a sin that my relaxation was, playing video games. Like, why is there this stigma attached to video games? And I don't get it. So yeah, that's my EVE Online spreadsheet champion story. You can teach yourself a lot of crap. Like, you guys saw a couple of episodes ago, a couple of weeks ago now, I was building an Excel spreadsheet. Somebody actually asked me for it, and I felt bad. I was like, shit, I never went back and finished it. But while on the show, I built an Excel spreadsheet for calculating profit margins. It's not hard. Yeah, but having an open beer at all times while awake is okay. Like, and that shit pisses me off too. Being in the military and becoming a non-drinker. Hey, why don't you drink? Hey, because I'm a fucking alcoholic. You want to tell us not to get a DUI, but you serve fucking alcohol at every event. You want to say that alcohol is a prevalent problem in the military, yet every fucking event is at the club so that people buy alcohol from the bar. Like, really? Like, get the fuck out of here. It's okay to drink, but it's not okay to play video games. Yet, no shit, guys, I'm not even making this up. Yet, where did they get all their current drone pilots? By driving around a fucking simulator to all the bases and having all the young people jump into it, right? I'm not even making this shit up. The way they found all their current drone pilots was by driving a video game simulator around to all the bases so that young people could jump into it, so they could see with zero instruction, zero piloting, no undergraduate pilot training, no no flight school, no nothing. They found that these 18, 19, 20-year-old kids were flying drones better than trained pilots. Do you remember the Windows Flight Sim game for OG Nintendo? I remember the original Windows Flight Simulator that, holy hell. Holy hell, that one was difficult. Just landing on the, the ground runways was difficult. Landing on a carrier was damn near impossible. If you beat the game and had a number to call, it was the Air Force. Yeah, it makes sense, man. It makes absolute sense. Not trying to be funny, but, there are people who are naturally gifted at piloting, but you're never going to meet those people because they don't have the pedigree to even get an interview. So, what else is on the, what else? Round 45 and 50 in the Noyet Challenge. Korea already has that. That's kind of cool. I like the fact that they're adding more. I do like the fact that they have added the Noyet accessories. I think that was, where's mine? I think that was a great thing. When will they kill the private server? They can't. They tried. There's no way to do it. If a private server is located in a country that doesn't respect the laws of the country asking for the request, then you run into the problem of what can they do. They host in Eastern Europe. I heard that the private server was hosted in, if you're talking Archeage, I heard that the private server was hosted in Russia. Yeah, okay, gotcha. Now we're there. Yeah, they host in countries that don't give a fuck. So, several countries that don't give a fuck, that just ignore it. Hey guys, I'm gonna jump up for 1 second. My legs, it's cold here again. I want to just walk around the first floor real quick, get the blood flowing, so I don't have to have the heater on next to me. I will be right back. Oh, sweet tart. Oh, sweet tart. I found someone. Someone woke up from his nap. Must be rough being you, huh? Nap all day to sleep all night. Not a single mouse. Not a single mouse to be had. So. Yeah. They had a rough night. What night was it? Tuesday night. Tuesday night, we had lightning strike 2 blocks away. And they were all... I couldn't figure out what was wrong with them. My daughter's cat ran into my room, and when I say ran, fat orange one, she ran up onto my bed. Like, she usually has to think about the jump, and she flew up into the bed, and she wasn't a happy camper, and they were all skittish. I couldn't figure out what was wrong until I saw the news report that lightning had literally hit 2 blocks away. So all the cats, you know, animals, when lightning strikes nearby, animals get a little bit squirrely. So they weren't exactly happy campers. And then with the weather change, they poofed again. It needs to stop it. It's killing me because it starts to get warm. So we turn on the air conditioner because I can't handle the heat. I don't like the cold, but I also don't like my house to be too hot. I don't mind if I'm outside walking or running or working. I don't mind the heat outside. But when I'm sitting chilling at my computer, I don't want heat. I don't want heat at all. So I turn on the air conditioner. They love the air conditioner. I find them under the vents. But their coats, man, they're just poofing. They're shedding everywhere. We had like a 90-degree day, and then we're back to another 55-degree day. And of course, as I've said on the show, I promised my daughter she could finish junior high and high school all in one school, and then I retired. Oh, speaking of which, I do have to give the shout out to the unknown person at the personnel center. Shouldn't have picked up the cat. Unknown person at the personnel center. I was one of those people that gets lost in the shuffle. I didn't retire out of my base. I retired from temporary retirement while I was trying to get healthy. And I didn't get my you guys aren't gonna know what the hell I'm talking about. Hold on. But when you retire, you get your retirement certificate. And unfortunately, I can't show you guys because it has my full legal name really big on it. But I kind of gotten forgotten about because I didn't retire out of my base. Usually somebody at your base is assigned, and I did this for dozens of people. Somebody at your base is assigned to make sure that your certificates get signed, that your commander-in-chief letter gets signed, that all the pieces happen. Well, I got injured and basically got told, you're done. And a lot of times when that happens, there's nobody, because you don't have a retirement ceremony, which I wouldn't have had one anyways. I would have had a barbecue, but I wouldn't have had a retirement ceremony. Shit, I probably would have gone back to my first base, where I was a flight commander, to do my retirement ceremony. Would have been like, hey, you guys want to have me out so I can have my retirement ceremony? They'd be like, no, not really. A retirement ceremony is a lot of work. Yeah, but I'm bringing ribs and burgers. And they'd be like, yeah, come on back, Captain. But no, big shout out to the unknown person who is doing their job. Good on them for doing it. How big was the injury? Well, I have very limited use of my left arm and my left hand. I've had to have 2 surgeries just to be able to use it. I just recently, well, not recently, 5 months ago, I resevered my bicep tendon. The surgeon couldn't do anything with it until 2 weeks ago, because 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I had my upper arm drilled into for a surgical anchor to go in there to attach the bicep. Well, the bone has to heal before you can drill another hole in it. So, yeah. They told me it's minimum 3 years between surgeries. And I did it again. I always go the wrong fucking way. They told me it was a minimum of 3 years between the surgeries. And I said, okay. Well, I talked to the surgeon, and the surgeon, he was cool as shit. He was like, look, your insurance covers you. He's like, you've got insurance, and it's a military injury, so we'll do whatever you want. He's like, but I'm going to tell you, you're almost 40 years old. Your first recovery was half a year. Your second recovery was almost a year. Another one. Look at it. We're racking them up today. Appreciate that. Surgeon was outright. He was outright with it. He's like, look, you're not as in good of a shape as you were when you had the last 2 surgeries. Your recovery time is going to be worse. You're probably looking at over a year for recovery time. And he's like, you're going to have to do the physical therapy like 4 times a week for several months so you don't get adhesive capsulitis, because you're not going to be able to use it, and so you're going to have to go and make somebody make you use it. I was like, well, I really don't want to fucking do that. So the surgeon was pretty cool about it. He said, tell me the stuff that you want to do right now that you're not able to do because of your arm. And I said, I want to be able to use my hand. And ever since I popped the tendon, I've been able to use my hand better. He's like, yeah, because you don't have the constant pulling on everything. He's like, you're not going to get your hand's going to get worse before it gets better. I said, is my hand going to get any worse with the way my arm is? He's like, no, your hand's fine now. He's like, but when I go in there and I start pulling on stuff, I'm going to fuck your hand up. And so I was like, nah, we're done. We're good. I don't really want to have another surgery then. Mainly because I don't need Tamir to be about to burn down a hospital again. A funny story was, I had the surgery, and the doctor, the surgeon out in Ohio, he said, this is going to go one of 2 ways. This is either going to be like a 45-minute surgery, or this is going to be like a 4-hour surgery. He's like, it's going to be one or the other. Well, it turned out he was pretty confident it was going to be a 45-minute surgery. So somebody told my wife, your husband will be out shortly. And like 2 hours more go by, and nobody's updated her. And she kind of lost her shit on the on the staff. I mean, rightfully so. I mean, it's going to be 45 minutes. He's going to be out in a few minutes, and now it's a couple hours later. You know, surgeries always have the opportunity for something to go wrong. Yeah. I woke up, and I got yelled at, because I think I said something about, like, fuck, that hurts. And I got yelled at by the attending nurse, watch your mouth. I was like, fuck you. Fucking in pain, man. Wasn't expecting to have my arm drilled into. I was expecting you to go in there and, you know, stitch it back together. But, nah. At that point, the military said there was things I couldn't do anymore. They gave me about a year to, let me take that back. No, they didn't. They didn't give me a year. They gave me 7 months, 8 months to see where I was going to be. And then, due to the fact that I had re-pulled it, they were like, can you climb ladders? No. Can you wear body armor? No, I can't. I could wear body armor if somebody put body armor on me. But I couldn't get myself in and out of body armor because I couldn't swing it around. I couldn't swing my arm around left or right. I couldn't pick up the body armor left-handed to put it on to use a right-handed clasp. And I couldn't swing my left arm around if I brought it up right-armed. I couldn't swing my left arm back to grab the clasp. So then that was a big one. And then my ability to use small arms was affected because my hand had the shakes. So they were just like, we'll give you a temporary retirement until we see where your arm's going to be. And after a year, my arm wasn't getting any better. And they were like, sorry, we fucked up your arm. Have a good life. I was like, well, that sucks. I wanted to be I wanted to be a squadron commander. I wanted to, you know, I wanted to do some things. I wanted to go to Dubai. I wanted to go to Pakistan. I wanted to, you know, there's things I wanted to do. But now the cool part is my kids don't have to not be without me. Do I have a pension? Yes, I get my military pension because I was injured in the line of duty. And military personnel used to get their pension at 20 years. Now they have to invest in a 401k. But I was under the old system where I get my... oh, look at that! Little MJ with 9 viewers. Appreciate that. I was under the old pension system. I get 50% of my top 3 years of pay for the rest of my life. So... not everybody gets a pension, but now at least everybody that goes in the military for a couple of years to try to get their GI Bill, they're at least walking out with a little bit of a 401k to start with. So, kind of a weird situation. Last 2 years have kind of revealed, though, that the quality of people that you get to go into the military drops when there's not a guaranteed pension after 20 years. Uh-oh. No, that's funny. That's funny. But nah, it's good. It was like I was reminded this morning, however, like people asked me why I didn't go back to teaching. I woke up this morning. Well, right now I'm pretty sick. I'm still pretty sick. But I woke up this morning and I just couldn't get. I was in so much pain this morning with the pressure and the humidity, and I was just like, man, I can't get today going. I couldn't imagine trying to teach and having to take painkillers. I don't know how that would work. You know, by 7th period, some kid smarts off to you, you're already in a bad mood, and you reach out and you just grab the kid by the neck. And you don't want to do that. That's not a good way to stay out of jail. Don't need that in my life. Oh no, don't fuck up my ride. But we have something similar to that, Dream, and it's called Social Security. But Social Security really isn't a pension because it's not enough. Like, you can't retire on your Social Security and live on just your Social Security if you haven't taken steps to set yourself up for retirement. You can certainly, like, there are people who live on their Social Security, but I really wouldn't call it living. I would call it surviving. And the problem now is that most companies, not all, most companies in America no longer offer a pension because pension programs are very expensive. It is very expensive to offer a pension program. Most companies now do like a matching 401k. Most companies do a matching 401k to get you interested and loyal. But yeah, most companies can't afford to, like, that's what Sears, if you guys study Sears, that's why Sears is out of business now, because they offered a really great pension, but those people are living forever now. People live into their damn hundreds. You can't have a system. If you use the 1 copper 30-minute time rampage, you can spam R without wasting echo fuel. Oh, cool. Thanks. Didn't know that. Yeah, exactly. So the problem, like, you take, for example, take my grandfather, for example. My grandfather retired from the Army. He retired from the Army, and for 50 years, 50 years, he drew his pension. Now, that's a long ass time. Now, I am one of those people that's never going to say that the military pensions were a bad thing. Depends on what years you're at. You're in the military for the right years, you never go off to war. You're in the military for the wrong years. Yeah, Dream, people in the military could claim their pension at 38. You got your pension after 20 years of service. It's one of the only times you get your pension that early in America. And you no longer get that. No new people can get that. Hold on, guys, 1 second. I have dander all over my face. Sorry about that. I picked up the flea bag because Sweet Tart isn't here all the time now, and the cat just happened to walk past me. But I shouldn't have done that. Let's see. Then why would people want to go into the military? Yeah, the reason why people go into the military is the military pays for your tuition at college. You don't pay for food. Well, you pay for food, but they give you an allowance for food, an allowance for housing. While you're on active duty, you get tuition assistance. And like I said, there were a lot of people who, for a lot of years, they joined the military, and there was never any wars. We won the first Gulf War. And then really being in the military was just kind of, hey, I'm hanging out, I'm not doing much. I'm just bebopping around. And then all of a sudden you ran into the, oh shit, we're at war with Iraq, we're at war with Afghanistan, we're in Africa, we're in, several places. We're in, countries that are struggling revolutions. And now all of a sudden you got people who were like, fuck this, I'm not staying in the military. Yeah. Imagine getting education support and then getting deployed. That happened to a lot of people. I had a lot of kids. And I call them kids. I was, in my 30s. And they were 18, and they would be in my office crying, I don't want to deploy. And I'm like, tough shit. What Shoot just said. You get a lot of people who join the military to get the free benefits and forget they signed that they will fight a war. Yeah, I mean, I solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I bear true faith and allegiance to the same. You didn't sign a contract that said, I will, pick up garbage. Now, if you guys study American history, I am a big FDR fan. I am a big progressive New Deal fan. I don't think that anybody should get paid for sitting at home doing nothing unless they're broken. Okay? If you're broken, legitimately broken, not a drug addict, not an alcoholic, not somebody who, is getting a free ride, but you legit are you're broken. You served your country, or you had a job and you got broken, then you can have money for free. But everybody else, you can't find a job? All right, well, you know what? Monday morning, be at this address. Why? Because it's a park and we're going to clean it. But I don't want to clean a park. I guess you don't want to get paid today. States team, yeah. Here, big thing, Dream, that a lot of people forget. You guys get, not everywhere in Europe, but you guys get healthcare, education, all those things, but you also pay a shit ton more in taxes than we do. I was just talking to somebody the other day that they said their income is taxed 50%. Well, I don't want to live in a country where my income is taxed 50%. I don't want to pay for everybody else to have benefits. I want to, I don't want I don't want to pay for every kid to go to college. I'll pay for my own kids to go to college, thank you very much. They're my kids, I'll take care of them. So, the truth of the matter is, in America, if you're doing well in school, chances are you're not paying for all of your college anyway. If you're in the top 10%, you're probably getting scholarship money anyway. If you don't get any scholarship money, this is just kind of a realistic approach for people, and I just want people to kind of absorb this one. If you've worked hard all through high school, and you apply to colleges, and you don't get any scholarship offers, you might want to think about maybe you're not doing as well as you think you are, and you might maybe want to think that community college is a good route for you to go, not only economically, but also academically. Just saying. The world is... Not everybody in the world needs to go get a bachelor's degree. If you weren't in the military, your medical expenses would have bankrupted you. 1 in 3 GoFundMes are for medical expenses. Maybe, but probably not, because I always had medical insurance, because I understood the idea of you got to have medical insurance. I had medical insurance from the state before it was... I didn't need to be handheld and told by people that not having medical insurance was a bad idea. For a period of 9 months, I had a job that didn't offer medical insurance, so I went and got private medical insurance, and you know what? Best decision I made. But yeah, I do understand there are people out there, okay? There are people out there who can't make ends meet. I get that. But I never, ever, 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 ever want to hear somebody bitching about not having enough money to pay for health insurance when they're sitting there with a $1,000 phone. Now, I called somebody out on that once. I said, yeah, you bitch that you don't have any money, but you drive a brand new car. You drive a brand new car, and you have a $1,000 phone, but you bitch that you don't have any money. And what I turned around and said was, look at this guy making it rank pandas. The person's like, well, I spend all my time in my car. Okay. And I need my phone for work. Well, I need my phone for work. I'm okay with that one. You have a $1,000 phone. You need a phone for work. I can understand that. You need a phone because there are some people that do the apps they need, whatever, without the phone. They can't do the thing. I do agree with you though. You don't have to have, like the guy that I was talking about has a brand new S10 Plus. Brand new. He had gotten it. He got it Monday. Or no, I was talking to him Monday. He had gotten it the previous Tuesday. Don't bitch to me that you don't have money, because there ain't nothing. If you had a Galaxy 8, okay, there is nothing that the Galaxy 10 can do that the Galaxy 8 couldn't do. So you didn't need to buy a brand new $1,000 phone. If your old phone was still working, then that was that. But don't bitch you don't have money. Don't bitch that you don't have money. There are people out there that legit... there are people out there that legit can't stretch... that can't stretch $1. I get those people. And you're not the people I'm talking to. I'm talking to the people who legit... They can't afford insurance because at the end of the month, when they've balanced everything out and they've spent nothing on luxuries, they have like $8 left. Those people need to be taken care of. But the people who are talking about, well, I don't have any money and I can't make ends meet and life's not fair. Well, take a fucking look around your life, okay? Take a look around your life and realize you probably are wasting 40% of your disposable income. The people, this one always gets me all the time. The people who talk about, well, I don't have any money. Dude, I'm looking at your fucking car and there's 2 McDonald's cups in your car. Well, yeah. Well, where the fuck did the McDonald's come from? Well, I bought it. Why? I bought it for lunch. Okay. I've even had people try to pull the bullshit with me. Well, I eat off the dollar menu. Oh, really? You eat off the dollar menu. Guess what? It's still $3. Well, it's only $3. Yep. And do you know how much lunch you can buy for $3? You can buy a lot of lunch for $3 if you buy groceries. Because if you're going to tell me you're spending $3 a day on lunch, that's $15 in a week. $15 is a sizable amount of groceries. So those are the people that I'm talking about. Those are the people that are... I run into very, 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 very few people who are legit poor, and it's not their fault. Like, the other one that gets me all the time. When people use the example of, well, it's not fair that a mother of 4 in Chicago. Stop. A single mother of 4 in Chicago. Cool. Stop fucking after 1. If I could afford it, I'd love to have 10 fucking kids. Guess what? I couldn't afford 10 kids. I had the number of children I could reasonably afford and provide a decent life for them. Guess what? When I got my commission and I started making enough money and my house was paid off and I was still young, wife and I were kind of like, hey, I want to have one more. Maybe try for a boy. Sure, we'll have one more. We tried for a boy. We got another girl. Get ready. You're coming to take mining from me? That's fine. I'm just here, just bebopping around. The unfortunate part was the way the events work in the morning. I might actually have to move the show back to an 11 o'clock start time so that I can, be streaming when the events are up. $200 shoes for a 2-year-old is insane. Yeah, no shit, man. Like, fuck's sake. Okay, I tell people all the time, I'm not ashamed of where I come from. I had Payless shoes growing up, and guess what? They weren't any better or any worse than the Nikes that my friends wore. Yeah, I got made fun of for them. You know what? Being made fun of probably made me a stronger person, and it probably was what drove me to not be poor. Guess what? I'm well off. I still don't have fucking Nikes. I still don't spend that kind of money on shoes. What do I spend? What kind of shoes do I have? I have A6 running shoes. Why do I have A6 running shoes? Because I like to fucking run. Guess what? My shoes, I'll get about 500 miles on them before I change them. When do I change out my running shoes? When there's holes in them? You have Apex? I mean, yeah. Again, we're back to the video game thing. I think video gaming, people make fun of people who play video games. It's just like it's the fucking, where is it? Okay. I'm gonna grab, come on. So you guys all are gonna kind of know where I'm going with this one. What is a big one that everyone gets made fun of for? Which group of people get made fun of all the time? Your tabletop gamers, right? Those people that have the bag of dice and all the books. They've all the books, and my 19th level half elf, half whatever follower of whatever, because I don't do D&D anymore, but I mean I could do riffs. I could give you a riffs example, but everybody makes fun of tabletoppers, okay? But nobody makes fun of fantasy football, and it's nothing more than Dungeons and Dragons for jocks. Okay? So people need to get the fuck up off gamers. I saw somebody say, have you ever seen Bill Gates' clothing? Yeah, exactly. Bill Gates' clothing. He doesn't give a shit. Fucking Bill Gates, man. Bill Gates is so fucking rich that he could turn around and he could buy a clothing line and be like, I want you to make clothes just for me. Why do I like Archeage? I like Archeage because, truthfully, it's a pretty chill game. I like the systems in it. I like the people I've met here. I have fun with it. It's a game that I know, so if people have questions, I can help. So little bits and pieces like that. At one time it was the best open world PvP game there was. Unfortunately, with several of the changes they've made lately, they've kind of killed off the open world PvP part of Archeage. Now it's instanced open world PvP. Somebody said that to me the other day and I kind of turned my head sideways and I was like, you can't have instanced open world in the same sentence. It's coming back. It is coming back. The problem is, and I know people don't like to hear this, they handled the transfer from Tryon to Gamigo so poorly, and Gamigo did not step up. Gamigo did not step up and put a good foot forward. If I had been in charge at Gamigo, the very first thing I would have said was, check. We're deleting every ticket in the system from when Tryon, because Tryon had a backlog of fucking tickets. I would have just come out and said, would have gone something like this. Hi guys, I'm Jalan. I'm the new executive producer at for Archeage here at Gamigo Games. I know this is going to make you guys mad, but I'm deleting every ticket that's currently in the ticket system. I'm sorry, but I'm getting rid of them all. Because honestly, Tryon couldn't keep their shit straight. So what I need you to do is if you legitimately have something that needs to get addressed, go ahead and put a ticket in right now. And then every swinging dick that had access to the damn ticket system would have been in there answering tickets. Every single person would have been answering tickets until we made everybody feel happy about themselves. Not because I give a shit about making people feel happy about themselves. I give a shit about making customers feel satisfied. Haha. Veggie bacon in one sentence. Yeah, BLT. If you're talking about veggie and bacon, like you're putting bacon on a veggie burger. What the fuck? Now, if you're eating a BLT, you're okay. You're okay if you're eating a BLT. You're okay. Let's see. You started playing Archeage because of my channel? Yeah. Here's the thing. Honestly, if my wife still played Archeage, then we would be in Archeage. Right now, I'm in another game because I miss gaming with my wife. I miss spending time with my wife. We were waiting and we were waiting and we were waiting and we kept putting off the playing a game together because we were waiting for Ashes. Well, once Ashes got delayed, she and I looked at each other and we're like, we're not waiting anymore. We're not waiting for another game. I'm going to tell you, we've been having a hell of a good time in Final Fantasy 14. Level 63 in like 2.5 weeks. Just bought ourselves a little house. We're in a free company by ourselves. So we have a little house. You know, I like the content. We just pre-ordered the new content, so that's where I'm going to be spending my leisure time. If she still liked Archeage, we'd play Archeage together. But you know, my wife and I, if anybody is a military family or you have you work opposite shifts from each other, my wife and I were military together for a while, and then I was gone all the fucking time. And that's one of the things that, it sucked. I was gone all the time. The image for this, I don't remember the image for this. I don't. Sorry. I tried not to think about it directly. I read your question and I tried not to think about it so that maybe it would pop up, and then I wanted to check the wings to see if it was on, and no, I don't remember. But you know, you have to enjoy the game you're playing, and I enjoy Archeage. I enjoy so a day like today. See, it's kind of weird. A day like today, my wife's not here. My wife's not here today. She's with our older daughter at a singing competition, and I need to get out of here in a couple of minutes. I got to go pick up the little one from school. But you know, on a day like today, I love playing Archeage because I don't feel like I'm not doing something with my wife. And my wife schedules all her appointments around my shows. Go get the nails done, the hair done, the massages, all that retired life shit. She goes and does all that while I'm at my shows. So I don't feel like she's sitting in the other room and we're not doing something together. But if Gamigo would be serious with me, and we were talking, Gamigo and I were talking about me being an official content creator again. And here's the thing. Here's the big one. I do not run the best content to be a content creator. And I'll admit that. I'll tell you guys right to your face. I'm going to look at you. I'm going to look right at the camera when I say this. I'm an asshole of a content creator, and I know companies think I'm an asshole. But I'm the best guy to make your content for you. I am the best guy to have in your content creator program because I'm the guy that will bundle up all of your complaints. I am the guy that will, for no other reason, I will bundle up all of your players' complaints. And I will come to you and I will say, look, these are the complaints. Number one, if Gamigo was ringing my phone, I'd be like, hey, you guys got to go get with XL Games and do some sort of compensation for this 30% healer debuff. You got to do some sort of compensation for these archers who you're not making any progress. You need to do some sort of compensation for Europe and stop calling it emergency maintenance because it's insulting. Like we talked about at the beginning of the show. I'm gonna loop back through that one more time for the people who didn't see it. It'll be a much shorter version. But, you know, I'm going to be the guy that tells you what you're fucking up and what you're doing wrong. I do that over at Ashes of Creation. Some people get bent out of shape at me and they're like, all you ever do is beat up on Steven and the Intrepid staff. And I'm like, yep. And if they didn't appreciate it, they would kick me out of the creator program. If they didn't think that what I was bringing was value added, they would be like, sorry, Jay, you need to go. But they don't kick me out of the creator program, and they don't censor me, and they don't, you know, not like my posts on Twitter, which they did this morning. I put out a video, they liked it. I know they don't like every single piece of content I put out, but I put out stuff that they need to hear. I'm going to give you guys a couple of more examples for game developers. If you notice at the bottom of my screen, I have an icon, a big V. That's Valar. That's my buddy Doc Greenspoon over at Quasar Studios. He had a direction he wanted to go with his game, right? And he got introduced to the Paradox Gaming Network, and he radically changed the vision and direction for his game. And I haven't really had a chance to keep up with him. Because I'll be honest, being as sick as I've been the last couple of weeks, sometimes when I'm done with my show, instead of doing show prep for the next show, I go lay down. I'm just tanked. But when I get back into it, I'll be like, hey Doc, I seen the work that you're doing. And he completely redid the entire world. He literally said, guys, I'm going back to square zero. And a lot of it has to do with the people he met at Paradox. And a lot of the people in my gaming network are just like me. They are not yes men. What Shoot just said. Nobody wants a yes man. My people now, some of the people that are in my channel, they don't follow the Paradox mentality of, if you want to say something sucks, say it sucks, but say why it sucks and say what you would need to make it better. I don't want to hear it sucks. I want to hear it sucks. Here's how we make it better. For example, chicken sandwich. Hey dude, the chicken sandwiches around here suck. Thanks. Hey man, have you ever thought about maybe easing off the onion on the chicken sandwiches a little bit? You know, I think you're adding too much onion. Not a lot of that's something that the guy can think about. Like, oh damn, maybe I'm putting too much onion on it. There is a takeout place that your burger comes without they don't put the tomato, the lettuce, the onion on the burger for the takeout. It's wrapped in wax paper because they know what do some people like about their food? They like their veggies cold and their burger hot. But if you got the food in takeout, then the veggies are all going to be hot and soggy by the time your lettuce ain't going to be crispy. But that's because talking to the guy, he said, yeah, the complaint I got was the takeout people said by the time they got home, the lettuce was warm and wilted and the tomatoes were warm and jelly. And so I just started, yeah, wilted. Thank you. Wilted. He's like, people didn't like it. So all I had to do was make a slight change where I don't assemble your burger. I put the bun over here. I put the burger patty over here. On the other side of the divider, I put the veggies in the wax paper. And yeah, it's still in the hot container, but at least your veggies are still crispy. Dude has way more takeout orders now. Little change, but had people not told him about it, never would have been that way. The other one, the other game that I have down there, I have a couple other games down there. Another game down there, Defend the Night, that is Scribble, Ninja Loot Games. Another great guy. He's like, hey, can I get your opinion on this? Can I get your opinion on this? Sure, get my opinion on this. What do you think about this? I think it's great. Told him a couple of things I thought were really working well for them. They've stuck with it. Would they have stuck with it one way or another? Probably. But you're definitely not going to stick with something. If everybody's telling you it sucks, you're not going to stick with it. If everybody is telling you it's good, that's that reaffirmation that, okay, what we're doing is good. We need to stick with it. To close up today, if you guys were here at the beginning, you saw this. I want to run through it one more time, just because I am the guy that keeps feet to the fire. And this is the European players. Their big complaint. And if you're from Europe, I'm on your side in this. European players were asking me. They said, "What's up with our servers?" And having been on Selfira, I know exactly what it's like to be on a crappy server. A server that, doesn't exactly get love and attention and runs like shit and gets DDoSed and is down all the time. Well, the person who brought it to me, and I don't mention names. If they're here, they'll say, yeah, that was me. But I don't necessarily always like to mention names. It gets me in trouble. But what'd you get from Tinin? Now, this is what I said at the beginning of the show. This is the Archeage producer. This means you are at the top of the food chain in the Archeage from Gamigo hierarchy. You are the producer. You may not necessarily have all of the power and authority you need, but all of the blame is yours. Emergency maintenance. We need to bring down the servers for maintenance at this time. Okay. Unfortunately, it appears that the post for this maintenance did not post correctly. Okay, I said it at the beginning of the show. I'm going to say it again. Fuck off, okay? First of all, it's not emergency maintenance yet. It's not emergency maintenance then because it wasn't unexpected. You clearly knew about it early enough that you were trying to do a pre-announcement post. So that's not emergency maintenance. That's scheduled maintenance. That's routine maintenance. That's sustainment maintenance. There's a lot of different words you can throw in front of maintenance to better classify what they are. I'm going to give you a breakdown from my background. What is emergency maintenance on an aircraft? Emergency maintenance on an aircraft is, holy shit, the cargo plane is already loaded with cargo. It passed pre-flight. Now they're trying to fire the bird up, and they can't fire her up. So they're going to very quickly run about a 60-minute emergency maintenance on it. Can we fix the problem in 60 minutes? If they cannot fix the problem in 60 minutes, what they do is they have us take all the cargo off the plane, have us put it on another plane that passes pre-flight. That's emergency maintenance. It's not emergency maintenance if you know the plane in spot 17 is due for 10,000 hour maintenance. That's not emergency maintenance. That's predictable maintenance. That's preventative maintenance. Like I'm saying. So what they're trying to say here is resulting in last minute notice being provided at this time. Well, that's just shit sloppy work. You're telling me you posted a notice for emergency maintenance in advance and you didn't double back to make sure that the announcement was up? It's literally hit post, quality control your own work. Hit reload. Is my post up there on the forums? Cool. All right, I know I did my job. Then a little bit while later, this is 39 minutes later. The repeated maintenance is due to the team continuing to work through issues causing latency for players. Then that's not emergency maintenance. You're doing quality improvement. You're doing process improvement. You're doing performance improvement. That's not emergency maintenance. It's necessary. I'm not kicking them in the nuts saying that they don't need to do these things. I'm saying I don't believe you. The reason why you have no credibility with your community is because, and it's not just me saying it, here's another person that's just like me. I've made this same argument in the past. Use the right fucking words. You're trying to throw the word emergency maintenance in front of or you're trying to throw emergency in front of maintenance because you're hoping people will be like, oh, they're not going to yell at us if I say it's emergency maintenance. The example I give is from my show. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. I started a stream, right? I started a stream, and then 38 minutes into my stream, my phone rings, and it was my daughter's school, and they were like, hi, Mr. J, your daughter is sick. Can you please come up to the school and get her? Well, then my show stopped. I only did a 38-minute show that day because it was an emergency. I had to go. My daughter is more important to me than my stream. My wife was unavailable. Now, if my wife was available, my wife would have gone and gotten my daughter, and then when she got home, would have done the usual thing that I do when she walks in the door. I would have, when she's sick, I would have paused the show for a second. I would have been like, hold up, guys, my daughter's home. I want to say hello. And then she would have gone upstairs. It's just like, oh no, oh no, no. It's just like when they come home on Fridays. You guys know that normally on Fridays, Tamir picks up the girls, and 3:30 is my hard stop time, unless we're closing up still. But you'll notice Gizmo will walk over and wave to you guys because the most important thing to me in the world is my children. So if I'm still streaming and they come home from school on a Friday, Gizmo's gonna come and wave to you guys because that's how it is. And then I quickly remind myself I need to close up for the day, and I need to get my ass in gear, and I need to get in the car, and we need to go to family dinner on Friday. Words matter, because that's how life is. But when you start treating your customers the way that Gamigo does, with bullshit, and that's what it is. It's bullshit. You want to call it emergency maintenance, but it's not. It's not. You're using the wrong word. Now you're either ignorant of the fact that you don't know what the word is. Oh. There's the one. You either don't know that there's a difference between ETA and ETC, or if you're military, you know ETC as ETIC. We throw an I in there for a nice pronounceable acronym. But when you start bullshitting your own community, then you're literally saying, I don't respect you. I don't respect you enough to tell you the truth. I'm gonna feed you a bunch of bullshit. I'm gonna put a bunch of bullshit in your head just so that it sounds good, but I don't really care. It's like you guys have seen me. If you come in to my show and you've got an informed opinion, we can talk about your informed opinion all you want. Like earlier today, the guy and I disagreed. We politely agreed to disagree. He thinks that the things at the castle shouldn't be destroyable after the close of the Siege Scroll sale. Okay. I believe that the items should continue to be destroyable. We agree to disagree. Now, if Gamigo came to me and said, hey, Jay, we would like you to do a little bit of research on this topic, absolutely I would do that. And if everybody came back with, no, we don't think it should be destroyable, then I would put, the majority of the community feels that it should not be destroyable, parentheses, 89%. Some parts of the community think that it should still be destroyable, 11%. I don't have to word it to get my way. Shit, if all of you feel a certain way, maybe I need to reevaluate it, right? That's what my show does. It shows me what you guys think. Let's see. Is Abolisher still viable on 5.3? Can't find any builds for 5.3. Yes. And by the way, somebody asked earlier, when are we going to get 5.3? I apologize. I didn't grab your question. I do apologize for that one. We already have 5.3. We're already in 5.3. Now you got to remember, if you go to the Amigo site, our patch numbers don't always one-for-one line up with theirs. Yeah, there's the guy. It destroys much of the server's Lord Coin progress, which is much easier to do early server with full service. Yes, absolutely. You have a valid reason. I'm not saying it's a bad reason. But my response to that one is, but you've already been paid. You already got paid for all that work. Now, if you didn't get paid for that work, if the only thing you got out of the Lord Coin stuff at the castle, okay, was the castle being up, well then, I would agree with you. But since you got paid in Lord Coins by building those farms, by building those materials, then I think you've been fairly compensated. But again, it's something that I'd have to dig into some more details. How do you really need Lord's Coins anymore? I mean, I remember Lord's Coins were a huge deal for my Obsidian gear. Now, are they that important? Does the patch that gives T4 Hiram and T2 Aranor live on... Yes. So that you guys know, I couldn't prove it today. I did go looking for an answer from the Wednesday show. Apparently, you can get Eternal T4 Hiram in Korea. Now, that is third-hand information. I can't prove it, I can't disprove it. Originally, the Amigo notes said, no, you cannot. The notes originally said, no, we are only going to limit you to Mythic T4 Hiram in the next patch, and then the Eternal would come later down the road. Apparently, they've gone ahead and hit the button for Eternal T4 Hiram, so I'm being told that that's live now in Korea. So, I do know that the Awakened T2s, yeah, I don't particularly watch that individual. Very good Archeage creator. Might be able to watch him now with the wearable collar. I wear a wearable set of speakers now. By the way, guys, I don't hawk much, and you notice on the bottom of my channel I don't have a link to sell these to you. But if you don't like headphones, I highly recommend this from Bose. It's a wireless collar. It's speakers. It works great for most games. Doesn't work well for Final Fantasy. It doesn't work well for Final Fantasy 14 due to the way they do their sound drivers. But definitely enjoying my life more with the collar rather than wearing the headphones. I am gonna say, my headphones weigh about 4 times as much as my collar. Plus, the collar has the added benefit of, do I have it? For those of you that don't know this about me, I actually broke my neck a long time ago. That's one of my other injuries. So, Sweet Tart saw this once. I scared the shit out of her. I actually have a daily maintenance neck collar. To strengthen my neck, I have to wear it for an hour a day. And it's funny, since I got this, the doctors have all said, just in the last couple of weeks, they're like, wow, the muscle group that works is getting really worked out by whatever you're doing. And I said, well, I got a Bose wearable speaker collar, and I'm telling you, I don't have to, I don't have to put that, neck brace on in order to relieve the pain. I still do it for the, to pull the muscle back, but this thing is amazing. This thing is absolutely amazing. I used to sword and board leather abolisher. Been thinking about trying the game against the Hiram game came out. Wondering if it's worth my class. Yeah, I mean, you can do plate abolisher, stack magic defense or magic damage reduction, get a magic shield, and you can pretty much slap people and say no. I don't want to die. Oh, the Bose speaker costs about $300. You can get off brands for as little as $40 or $50, but I mean it's Bose, so it comes with the Bose name. You're paying for the name. Last time you watched him, he was running over his monitor with his cart. Yeah, that dude's crazy. That's why I can't. The way he screams, I can't listen to him with the headset on. But with the collar, I might be able to because it won't like blow out my eardrums. Oh. There's the 5-minute warning. Been in the situation where my guild put 30,000 Lord coins into castle buildings. We lost the castle. Next siege, we came back strong, got the scroll. The guild that had West United made enemies with her, so they knew. Yeah, well, again, you told the story once before. but you lost the castle. You had a period of time where you did not have ownership of the castle, so you lost the right to dictate the future of the castle. So again, we disagree. I think you lost the castle, and yeah, the whole server suffered because the farms got destroyed. Right, but it's, again, you're missing. You failed. You've acknowledged it, but you failed. It's a sandbox game. You failed. You lost ownership. You lost ownership, so the new owner had the right to do whatever he wanted, and he chose to destroy it. Yeah, sweetheart, I am so hyper paranoid about not being on time places. I have a warning bell that tells me before the warning bell when I have to walk out the door. The top player in Korea seems to have a lot of Eternal T2 Aranor, but cannot seem to find anyone with the higher... what's the name of the Eternal T2 Aranor? Because you're not able to have... Let me start over. If you're looking at somebody with Aranor gear, they have T4 if it's Eternal, because you can't have Eternal T2. It's level capped. Just like you can't walk the gear up past a certain spot. So if it's Eternal, it's T4. Or I mean, it could. No, it'd have to be T4 if it's Eternal. Just like, you see, you can't, Awakened Eternal? No. Awakened Aranor, if he's talking about Aranor, yes. But he's talking about Hiram. Just like you see here, you can't, if I go to Epic, I can't have Epic T1 or T2 Hiram. You can only go to Epic on T3. When they add in T4, I could do this. I mean, I can do this right now. Here's T2 Hiram, and you can't have Eternal T2 Hiram. It just doesn't, you're not allowed to go to that level. Because if you could go to that level, you would take it up that high, and it... Ah! He says T2 Earner. Got you. I jumped down because what I'm seeing is Eternal T2 Hiram gear. My eyes jumped down. Thanks. Top player on Korea seems to have a lot of Eternal T2 Aranor, but I cannot seem to find anyone with higher Hiram gear. You probably won't. The amount of XP necessary is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So there's, I mean, what did somebody said it the other day? You're talking about 8 million XP to do your whole set. Yeah, you're gonna be there a while. I mean, just to get to do I have a piece? I don't have any pieces that I don't have any pieces that are at the top. I finished them out. You may try to do your bow, but definitely not doing armor to T4. I will do my main hand. I will do my main hand to T4. I will do my headpiece, ironically, to T4. So Mythic to Eternal for weapon is 1.7 million. Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And then I will do the headpiece. I will do the headpiece up to Eternal for the extra toughness gems since I already have them, but I probably won't do any other pieces. I gotta make gold though. If I'm gonna stay, which I'm probably gonna stay because, you know, I like hanging out with you guys. I like being helpful for Archeage. Now that Ashes has slowed down a little bit and it's not feast or famine, well, we're back in famine. But man, 4 live streams in 8 days. There was so much information I had to chew up. Plus they put out a couple of blogs, so I was busy. But anyway, guys, it is rolling up to the time I need to walk out the door. My phone's going to go off again in just a second to remind me, hey, go get the kid. How many tiers does Hiram Weapons have? Right now, 3. In a future patch, 4. So, anyway, guys, good show today. What did we get up to? I got to make a note because we didn't hit the number. We got close. We didn't hit the number, so I'll bring that number down for next show. I will be back on Monday morning for Archeage 101. If you got any questions, send them to me over the weekend. I'm Jalan, #0001 on Discord. That way, oh, and I'm going to look at the poll real quick. Thank you, poll. I do have a poll going on, so Stream Elements, or Nightbot just told you. But if you guys got any questions, ask me over the weekend. That way I can have them prepped for Monday's show. You guys take care, and I think today is the day that you'll see me later tonight on somebody's live stream as their guest talking about Ashes of Creation. So if you see that on my channel, I will actually be a guest on a podcast. You guys take care, and I will see you on Monday.